When you hear the word cyberpunk, what pops into your head? Apart from the obvious game, it's a pretty specific vibe you get, right? Rain-slicked streets reflecting a million holographic ads, giant oppressive skyscrapers that blot out the sky. It's a genre built on rebellion, corporate spies, and the gritty fight to survive in a world where tech has gone off the rails. It's all about danger, intrigue, and action, and it can be relaxing? What if I told you that one of the most interesting cyberpunk games in recent years isn't about saving the world, but it's about flying around in your car as the story unfolds in your ear, and you just have to deliver packages? Sounds like a very typical cozy game premise, right? This is Cloudpunk, a game that asks a very fascinating question. Can a dystopian game actually be cozy? Let's get into it. The game boots up and you're Rania. You're new in town, you're from the rural sticks, and you've come to the massive vertical city of Nivalis looking for a fresh start. And pretty much like everyone who moves to the big city, your first move is to get a job, and it's not a glamorous one. You're a delivery driver for a shady fly-by-night company that gives the game its name, Cloudpunk. Your handler, a tired but friendly voice on the radio who just calls himself Control, gives you the rundown. It's simple, there's 2 rules. Rule 1, never miss a delivery, and Rule 2, never ask what's in the package. With that, he hands you the keys to your hover, your flying car, and your first night on the job begins. It's such a simple and relatable setup. Rania isn't some chosen one or super soldier, she's just trying to pay the bills in a city that's famous for chewing people up and spitting them out. She's in debt, she's an outsider, and she's just trying to make it through the night. This immediately makes the whole experience feel grounded. The stakes, at least at first, aren't about saving the city, but about saving yourself from being evicted. You're not totally alone though. In a move that really defines the game's unique tone, one of your first jobs is to upload the consciousness of your dog, Camus, into your car. He becomes your AI companion, a curious, innocent, and super endearing voice who's both the comic relief and your moral compass. His earnest questions about the bizarre world of Nivalis are often the same ones that you're thinking. The warm, witty banter that develops between Rania, her talking dog car, and the lonely voice of Control forms the emotional core of the game. This little group just chatting away as you fly through the skyways turns the cold, isolating job of a courier into something that feels more like a late-night road trip with friends. It's the first big clue that Cloudpunk is going for a completely different feel from other cyberpunk games. It's not about being a lone wolf in a concrete jungle, it's about finding a little pocket of warmth and friendship in this massive, overwhelming city. And the depth to that emotional connection between these characters is a big reason Cloudpunk can be considered cozy. So it's a 2 out of 2 for player connection. Who knew that the beating heart of a neon-drenched dystopia would be a girl, her boss, and a talking dog car asking what trees are? If Rania, Camus, and Control are the game's heart, then the city of Nivalis is its soul. More than anything else, the atmosphere of Cloudpunk is what sells the idea it can be a cozy game. The entire world is built with a stunning voxel art style. Think 3D pixels that give the city this unique, stylized look. It's a choice that could have felt blocky, but instead it makes the world feel vast and engaging. Nivalis is literally a city of layers, showing its massive class divide. Down at the bottom, in the place called the Marrow, it's all toxic smog and darkness. As you fly up, you pass through the busy mid-levels, a chaotic mess of neon signs, crowded walkways and traffic, and way up to the top are the gleaming towers of the super rich, touching the clouds, totally disconnected from the struggle below. The whole thing is drenched in a constant, gentle rain with droplets catching the light from a million ads, creating this beautiful melancholy vibe that is just completely captivating. The game knows that the world is its greatest strength and it wants you to exist in it. The main gameplay sees you fly through these incredible spaces, but the real magic is in the moments between missions. It's flying your hover through a packed sky highway, with the soundtrack pulsing in the background. It's parking on some random landing pad 100 stories up, getting out and just watching the endless streams of traffic, listening to the city hum and feeling peacefully small. The game nails that Blade Runner aesthetic, but it creates a mood that's way more thoughtful and less hostile. There's a weird comfort in the rain, a soothing quality to the neon glow. Other games make their cyberpunk cities into combat arenas, but Nivalis often feels more like a giant, explorable city. It's a place that, even with its obvious dangers, invites you to just slow down, look, and listen. It's a city that's always moving, but at the same time, it can give you this powerful sense of peace. This amazing atmosphere is the foundation of the game's coziness, creating a place you just want to hang out in, not conquer. So it's a 2 out of 2 for atmosphere. You spend most of your time finding a parking spot, and the rest of the time staring at the rain. So what do you actually do in Cloudpunk? The answer is simple: you drive. You fly your hover from point A to point B, pick someone or something up, and then fly to point C to drop them off. That's pretty much it. That's the core gameplay. There's no combat, no complicated skill trees. You mainly interact with the world by flying and talking. Some people have called this game a futuristic walking simulator for that reason. Flying your car is less about high-speed chases and more about navigating the city's complex, vertical maze. And there's a chill rhythm to it. You find a path through traffic, fly up to another level and find a legal parking spot, which can be its own little satisfying puzzle. And it's not meant to be stressful. You have to keep your hover fueled and repaired, but it's pretty forgiving and the cost is easy to manage, so you never really feel under pressure. Progression is a journey in Cloudpunk. It's during those long flights that the story unfolds. Conversations with Control, Camus and your clients happen in real time as you fly. You're just an active listener soaking up the stories of Nivalis. Progression is light, but it feels good. You earn money to upgrade your car's speed and handling, or you can spend it on stuff to decorate your little apartment with. It all reinforces the idea that you're not just trying to change the world, just trying to make a comfortable life in it. It's predictable, it's calming, and it makes Cloudpunk the kind of game you can just unwind with. It simulates a job, sure, but one that lets your mind wander as you cruise through the city of light and rain. But progression in Cloudpunk can be slow and often too subtle to be meaningful at times. The upgrades are shallow and mostly cosmetic. Especially for your hover, there's slight quality of life upgrades. You can be slightly faster, slightly sturdier, slightly less crashy. Well, not when I'm driving, but in theory slightly less crashy. But there's little mechanical payoff for the skill or the exploration. Once you've learned to weave through the neon traffic and read the minimap, you're basically doing the same job over and over again. Deliveries rarely escalate in complexity, meaning there's no meaningful mastery curve, and choices often read as impactful in the moment but have limited systemic impact. Whilst the repetitive delivery mechanic can enhance the coziness of Cloudpunk, there isn't much room to feel like you're growing as a character or as a player. So it's a 1 out of 2 for meaningful progression. You can upgrade your car's handling, but you can't upgrade your parking skills, and trust me, I tried. Hey there, just a quick pause to say that if you're enjoying the chill vibes and discovering new and unconventional cozy games, subscribe to the channel. If you wanted to support the channel a little bit more, you can also give this Slothee a coffee. And trust me, I need the energy. You can find the link in the description below. And now, back to the video. Okay, we have to talk about the giant holographic elephant in the room. For all its relaxing gameplay and beautiful calming atmosphere, Cloudpunk is still a cyberpunk game. And that means the world of Nivalis at its core is a pretty awful place. The stories you run into on your delivery route aren't always fun and games. A lot of the time they're deeply tragic, cynical, or dark. And that's where the game's main tension is, and where that whole cozy argument gets a little complicated. Your job as a delivery driver makes you a courier of secrets and a witness to the city's slow motion collapse. You're making small but meaningful decisions about the lives of the people you meet. Each package is more than cargo, it's a secret, a moral dilemma, or a glimpse at the city's collapse, under hypercapitalism, corporate greed, and runaway technology. One minute you're giving a ride to two snobs, and the next you're driving a grizzled PI whose dialogue is straight out of a noir film. You'll cross paths with the desperate poor freezing to death, You'll bump into the ultra-rich, whose biggest problem is deciding what toppings they want on their pizza. You'll meet confused and optimistic androids. And then there's the man who sells everything he owns just for a ticket to ride an elevator to nowhere for one fleeting glimpse of the sky, before a long final fall back down to the earth. The game is not shy about showing you urban decay and exploring themes like poverty, loneliness, and what it means to be human. The main story itself, which slowly uncovers the mystery of a rogue AI, hits all the classic cyberpunk notes about artificial intelligence and oppressive corporations. The moral choices you have to make rarely give a clear good or bad answer. They're often just choosing between two terrible options. So does all this dark, depressing storytelling cancel out the cozy feeling? It's a question that gets right to the heart of what the game's all about. And yet somehow, as you drift through the neon rain with music humming in the background, pondering morality, the game can still feel incredibly cozy. So it's a 2 out of 2 for sense of agency. The city is collapsing, but hey, you found a parking spot. Small wins. When it comes to replayability, Cloudpunk sits in an awkward middle ground. On one hand, the game's atmosphere is so strong that simply flying through Nivalis can feel rewarding a second time. Add to that the branching moral choices sprinkled throughout the story, and you might expect Cloudpunk to have strong replay value. After all, the decisions you make, whether to save someone in need or follow Control's orders, feel significant in that moment. But here's the problem, those choices rarely ripple far enough to make a second playthrough feel truly different. Most of the outcomes are contained within a single scene, with only small shifts in dialogue later on. You'll still unlock the same districts, still complete the same deliveries, still hit the same major story beats. The mechanical side of the game doesn't evolve enough to offer new challenge or incentives for another run. But I guess that's where the cozy factor can slip in. When revisiting Cloudpunk, you're not looking for surprise anymore, but for familiarity. But if you're hoping for a radically new experience or meaningful consequences that reshape Nivalis, you won't find them in this game. So it's a bit of a mixed bag and earns a 1 out of 2 for replayability. Familiarity is the point. You've flown these streets before, but somehow they still feel like home. So at the end of the day, is Cloudpunk secretly the coziest cyberpunk game out there? It lands a solid 8 out of 10, putting it in our certified cozy category. At first, the story sounds too bleak, the characters too broken, and the world too unfair to be classed as a cozy game. The stories of corporate evil and human suffering are typically considered anything but cozy, but I think it finds a new, unique kind of coziness. The game doesn't want you to ignore the darkness, it wants you to find a moment of peace inside it. The genius of Cloudpunk is that contrast. It's a feeling of flying peacefully through the rain while listening to a heartbreaking story. The relaxing gameplay doesn't erase the grim story, it insulates you from it. It puts you in the role of the observer. The shift in perspective is key. The experience becomes less about an active struggle and more about just soaking it all in. It's a perfect game for a rainy day, both literally and figuratively. It finds comfort not in escaping reality but reflecting upon it. For players who care more about the story, atmosphere and the characters than complex gameplay, Cloudpunk is an absolute cozy gem. But that's just my take, and I want to know what you think. What makes a game cozy for you? Is it the lack of fighting, the art style, or is it something else? And did Cloudpunk's score surprise you? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.